everyone, and welcome to another Rule Revel interview. That's right. Just this weekend, I attended the Eureka Freedom March in Melbourne, and while I was there, I got to interview the leader of the United Australia Party, Craig Kelly. And in that interview, I got him to touch on a few things because the federal election is coming up next year, and everything we do from now until then has an impact on the effect that it can have. You know, because the one thing that we know for sure is that we need to dismantle the Liberal and Labor duopoly that has taken over our country because they're no longer listening to us. You know, and in this interview, I mentioned to Craig Kelly, you know, that the United Australia Party aren't claiming to be the perfect solution and have all the answers. They're just aware of the situation at hand, and they're the only party with the a financial firepower to actually have a major impact. So I got him to touch on a few different things. It goes for about 5 minutes. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you soon.
The next election.
What you see, both major political parties have let us down so much during this crisis that we've had. Where is the Prime Minister standing up against Dan Andrews' draconian policies? Missing in action is the best word to describe it.
Absolutely.
Both these parties have run up now. The budget will be next year. It will be over $1 trillion. That is the number is just extraordinary. You are talking about millions. That's how much debt this nation is now in.
Our taxpayer dollars.
That is what future generations will have to pay off. We need a third alternative in our parliaments and at our elections. We've seen what happened to the third alternative here. Your so-called independents in the upper house had their tummy tickled and rolled over.
Yep.
Just a disgrace. Also too, if Dan Andrews thinks this is over, if he thinks he has won this battle, he's highly mistaken. Because we have a little thing in this country called the Constitution, and that gives the federal government immense power to rein in these draconian powers that Dan Andrews is trying to do. And after the next election, if the United Australia Party is successful, we are the only thing standing in the way of Dan Andrews and a dictatorship in this state. We will use those powers federally to rein this legislation in that he has to try and save Victoria.
Absolutely, and that's right, you know, and I think a big takeaway is the UAP isn't claiming to be the perfect solution. The UAP is claiming to be a solution. You know, the only real solution we have, the UAP, in my opinion, not that I'm biased, but the UAP is the only party with the resources, and
there's a lot of other good minor parties out there. There's a lot of other very good people fighting this fight. But the reality is when you come to a federal election, you need massive resources to be able to compete. Remember, both the Labor and the Liberal parties take around $100 million of taxpayers' money to run their election campaigns. So unless you've got the resources and the manpower, you can't compete. We've got the resources, we've got the manpower. We are like a runaway train coming down the hill, and we are going to steamroll this next election, and we're going to make sure that this legislation that Dan Andrews has, we're going to wind it right back with the federal powers that we have, as I said, and restore some democracy and freedom to Victoria.
Thank you so much. Could you maybe talk about you mentioned a couple of weeks ago about the Bill of Rights that the United Australia Party would introduce. Could you talk to the people about that?
I must admit that I was always against the fact that Australia needed a Bill of Rights. We're one of the few nations without a specific Bill of Rights. I always thought our constitutional powers that we had under the Constitution were strong enough.
Yep.
The last 2 years have proven me wrong. We need a strong Bill of Rights in this nation to protect those freedoms that have been so taken away from us.
Yeah.
Last night I came in from Sydney in a plane. The signs welcome Melbourne. I had a hire car booked with budget, went to pick a hire car up, and they said, "Show me your vaccine passport." And I thought the guy was joking. I thought he, because I had the sign. I thought he was joking. He said, "No, you can't rent a car in this state. They are taking away our basic fundamental freedoms unless I've got some approved piece of paper from the government."
Yeah. Not in Australia.
And that's why we're here today. Remember, this is the 167th anniversary of the Eureka Stockade.
Yeah.
Those people rose up and fought because they faced an oppressive government.
Yes.
They faced where they couldn't go to work unless they had a piece of paper that said it was a miner's licence. Yeah. Today you can't participate fully in society unless you've got a digital piece of paper that says you've submitted to a global medical experiment, and that should not be on in a democratic and free country.
No, I really shouldn't. Thank you so much for absolutely everything you're doing,
Thanks so
Craig.
much.
You're the only one with the balls enough to actually come and stand with the people and stand in his convictions. So thank you so
Thanks
much,
so much.
Craig.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks.